Hello and welcome to LBGPLAYS Gaming. So today I have a bit of a discussion video and I wanted your opinion and share my thoughts as well on this. So I wanted to talk about DRM and game preservation because I found this very nice article online from Sapphire Nation where they talk about why DRM is bad for games. So basically, I'll just read a little bit here and there and also explain what they're trying to say. A lot of games, especially new ones, have some sort of DRM, digital rights management software. The popular one is Denuvo, and it tends to have some effects on the PC. So basically, there's a performance hit on the CPU. So everybody is sort of aware of this, but if you have a high-end CPU, it shouldn't be a problem for you. But if you have something entry level, then it will cause issues in performance. So he says here, yes, the dude with the super powerful Ryzen 7800 X3D will be fine. His CPU will just plow right through any DRM checks in almost all instances. But the person stuck on an older Ryzen 2600 or Core i5-8400, this added CPU load will make things worse, and modern gaming is already a technological engineering catastrophe as it is. Now, the thing is, DRM needs to constantly run in the background to check and validate the copy is legal. And the idea behind DRM is to stop people pirating and selling the game. But it's the paying customers who end up suffering the most because you bought and paid for the game, but you are the one who is having to deal with all these performance hits. And once the game is cracked, the pirate who is downloading it is getting a better version, a more optimized version and a less demanding version because they don't have the DRM checks on their um, PC or the CPU. The other thing he mentions is the preservation thing. So he says here, let's say something happens to Denuvo and its servers go down. This means that the games we have purchased become useless without some manner of circumventing this DRM. Now add to this sort of wacky DRM like a machine activation limit, which limits how many different computers can launch the game within 24 hours. And we have a situation where the consumer has even less control over the games. Plus, a lot of games have multiple user agreements and licenses where they keep saying that we can change things anytime we want. It's up to the company and stuff like that. So they can do a lot of things as well. So game preservation is an important topic, and it is honestly sad that pirated copies of video games is what will preserve some of the great games for the future. There's something super rotten about buying a piece of art and not being able to even protect it on your own end long term. Remember too, most game companies or publishers are not really very interested in conserving the past, which is unfortunate. And this point is something I have mentioned a few times. Companies don't care. Once they've made the money, they're out. And I've noticed that they try to get people to pre-order and purchase at launch, buy the season pass. Once the season pass and the ultimate edition is done, they're kind of done. They don't care after that. And I'll give you some examples. So the other issues he says is the loading times increase because of the load, because of DRM. And then there, of course, there's lack of control. And yeah, you bought the game and you have no control over it. However, the good thing is he has mentioned that the Denuvo is better than some of the previous ones like Star Force and stuff. I do remember Star Force. But at the same time, that's not an excuse. He does give us a compromise, which I like quite a lot. He has some good ideas here. So ultimately, I just do not like Denuvo or DRM in general. I do not believe it actually stops piracy, but that is a topic for another time. As it is nuanced and complicated, the fact is publishers and some developers force this down gamers' throats on PC, and it is objectively a worse experience for paying customers. How much it does vary, but it is never actually a superior experience due to DRM. However, they are not likely to stop. So here is a way for everyone to be happy. He's given 4 things like compromises. So he's saying release the game with the chosen DRM method as the publisher demands. Do make sure it is well implemented though, so the performance impact is not too noticeable, and do not use other DRM methods alongside it. That never ends well because some games actually use more than one DRM. So he's saying the game is launching you put your DRM, implement it properly, fine, we can accept that. Leave it on if the game is expected to have DLCs and expansion packs. And once all the expansions or DLCs are out and the game is cracked by piracy group, remove it. There's no reason to still have it. This is a very important point, I feel, because like I just mentioned, some games people will pirate eventually, and most games get cracked. What happens is the pirate is getting a better experience because you are still suffering the DRM issues. Meanwhile, the pirate is now. So if the game is already cracked and you have made the money, just remove the DRM. And some games too. I'll again show you some examples. So if the game has not been cracked, but the expansion and most of the money has been made, wait a few more months and remove DRM after that. It is a nice gesture of goodwill. You will get a bit of positive PR, and the game now has a better shot at immortality. Plus, the people with low-end machines who buy titles at 60% sales on Steam or Epic will encounter few performance issues, and this will slightly raise the game's positive reception long term, which means that the passive income from this title will be higher. So I agree with him, and I'll give you basically our best place is GOG for DRM free stuff. Now I've noticed a lot of games eventually come here once some time has passed, and a couple of big examples would be Horizon Zero Dawn. So Horizon Zero Dawn, of course, came out on PlayStation 4. Then a few years later, Sony released it on PC. Port was quite bad at the start, and then they fixed the patch. Is fine now, and then they dropped it on GOG. Now GOG, as you can see, is DRM free. I've started, using GOG more myself, which is why I also partnered with them and mentioned their games on sale. Now, there are also game preservation issues with the DRM model. You can download the game. I can download the installer on my SSD. SSDs are getting cheaper now. I can buy a big SSD, download the installer, put it on my disk, and then install it offline whenever I want to play. So it takes care of the online stuff, and I don't have to worry about the DRM activation all the time. So this is one example. The other example is Shadow of War Definitive Edition. Now this game had quite a lot of issues when it first came out. There was in-game microtransactions, even though this was a fully paid game. This was also very expensive at launch. I remember this was 7,000 rupees for the full gold version of the game, which was like the complete version with all the season pass and stuff like that. But now, even in India, I can get it very cheap. And yeah, this is like the base price, but on sale it is like less than $10, like $9 or something. So yeah, they have done that. They have removed the DRM. Obviously, they've put it here on GOG. They have, of course, have released all the DLCs and stuff. So basically, now it is such a much better game to play. So no activation, no online connection required to play. DRM free, of course. They've also given this away. So basically, what he was saying about the companies have made their money and they've released all the expansions. Now put it DRM free. Now this game is easily available. It was also in the Prime Gaming. I think it was given away free there if you had a Prime subscription. So a lot more people can enjoy the game. You can pick it up very cheap. It's a great game. And of course, it has a chance of being preserved long term because it's now DRM free. Now GOG also makes sure the game runs with the latest Windows. So even if you look at something old, let me find something a little older, they try to optimize it so it runs with modern systems. For example, let's say Dragon Age Origins Ultimate Edition 7, 8, 10, 11. So it is compatible. They make sure it works. This was from like 2010, so it's not that old, I guess. Let's find something even older. Let's say Prince of Persia Sands of Time. So Prince of Persia Sands of Time is $2 here. Came out in 2003, but it is optimized to run on 7, 8, 10, 11. So better chance of game preservation. And despite the negative view we have of some of the big publishers, I'm noticing more and more of them are doing this, which is great for game preservation. And of course, they also make money long term. Like some of these classics, I'm still buying. A lot of people are still huge fans of them. They don't mind double dipping, as it were, and getting the game a second time from GOG. Recently, the Yakuza games were added here on GOG. That was a big deal in my opinion. 0 to 6. You also have EA adding games here. Um, so yeah, quite a few of them are adding their games here. Skyrim was a big deal. You can see how much they've made money-wise from Skyrim. But now that they have put it here, you can sort of feel that they are done with all the 17 versions of Skyrim, and they're probably finally focusing on Starfield. So this is here. You can get Skyrim DRM free with all its drama and issues. You can finally get it DRM free, play it offline, mod it to your heart's content, and of course not worry about any issues. So yeah, this makes it possible to preserve the game and play it without any hassle. Also, I wanted to mention something in case you're not familiar. There's something called Enderal Forgotten Stories. So this is a standalone mod game based on Skyrim. So if you have the base Skyrim, this is like a full-fledged game made on it as a mod, and it is free. So if you have Skyrim on GOG, you can do this. And there's also one for Oblivion. So have a look at that if you're a big fan of this. So like a full separate story made within the same world, but looks completely different, and yeah, plays a little different. So yeah, this might be a great free game with hours and hours of enjoyment. So yeah, let me know what you think about DRM. What are your thoughts? Do you care? Do you not bother? Because for me, what I've started doing is, if the price difference isn't huge, I would get my games on GOG. I've decided not to buy as many games now, especially on Steam and other places, and get more on GOG. I was up until last year, so I was buying happily games on Steam and Epic and stuff like that. This year, I'm sort of thinking, okay, am I going to play this now? I'll wait for it to come on GOG, and when it comes to GOG, I look at the price difference. Is it huge? With the retail pricing going up on Steam anyway, it's much closer now to the dollar price. So if something is like 300 rupees on Steam and here it's $5, it's a very slight difference in terms of how much I'm paying, like a little more here with the dollar conversion. But I would much rather get the game here, especially if it's not a new one, and then just enjoy it here and not have to worry about uh, you know, DRM or online activation and stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to share this because I thought this was a good article and he made some good points, especially the compromise part. I agree. If your game is cracked, then just remove the DRM. At least don't punish the people who are actually paying for the game. So anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think, and I'll be making a video on the best deals on GOG later today, DRM free. So thank you once again. See you next time.